Hello, this is Cynthia Carnes. I wanted to thank you for agreeing to serve as a reviewer for the KL2s for the CCTS this year. I wanted to take a few minutes to go over the review process for those of you who have not done this in the past. So let's start out by looking at the K review template provided by the NIH. Let's move down to the scored review criteria, and you will see there are 5 key points that are evaluated. First would be the candidate. Here we're looking for a frank assessment of the strengths and weaknesses of the candidate. Next, we're looking at career development plan. And here we need a thorough evaluation of the career development plan, a statement of the career goals and objectives, and an assessment of whether the plan to provide mentoring is consistent with the candidate's plan and goals. In other words, these should all be aligned to move the candidate forward towards their stated goals. Next, we would look at the research plan, and certainly as scientists, this tends to be the section we prefer to focus on. Here we're looking for an assessment of strengths and weaknesses of the research plan. While this is certainly an important aspect of the overall proposal, it is not the only scored criteria. It's only one component of the scores we'll discuss in just a moment. Next, we're looking for an assessment of the mentors or mentoring team, as well as any consultants or collaborators. One thing that we like to consider is the commitment of the mentor or mentors to the applicant, and that should be addressed in their letter of support. There would certainly be more consideration given if there's evidence of successful mentoring in the past or interaction between members of a mentoring team in the past. It would certainly be viewed as positive. Next, we're looking at environment and institutional commitment. Does the applicant have the resources available to do the work that's proposed, and what is the level of institutional commitment? Certainly, an applicant with a postdoc does not have the same degree of institutional commitment as someone on a faculty line. So this is something that we have to evaluate as part of the overall package. Coming down, we come to the responsible conduct of research assurances. We do not ask the applicants to submit these, so don't expect to see these in your packages. Because we have committees that oversee this type of work at the university, we don't need to address those specifically as part of the review. However, one important component of the additional review considerations is shown here, and that is the training in the responsible conduct of research section. NIH requires that all trainees that are supported through NIH funds complete some form of training in responsible conduct of research, so we ask you to specifically look for this material in your applications. We would like to see comments on the format of the training. NIH recommends face-to-face instruction, interactive instruction, in person, for responsible conduct of research. Certainly, the subject matter should be comprehensive and cover all areas of the conduct of research. We would also like to see if there's anything you'd like to add on faculty participation or the duration. These are all things that we have to consider in the evaluation of the overall package. Coming down further, these again are compliance type issues that we don't need to address in our reviews. However, I did want to point out there's a section for additional comments to the applicant at the very end of the template. If there's anything you would like to say to the applicant that's not included in the previous boxes, feel free to use this space for those comments. Once we've completed those sections, that brings us back to the top where we can look at the overall impact score. And really what we are expecting to see in that box, the text box for overall impact, is what drove your score? What are the key factors that you considered, positives and negatives, that led you to arrive at your score? These should be sort of the high-level synthesis of your evaluation. Speaking of scores, let's then look at the scoring template, and that was included in something distributed by email by Stuart Hobbs called A Few Notes on Scoring. If you get to the end of that document, you will actually see this table that outlines the 1 to 9 scoring criteria. 5 is considered to be a good grant or an average good grant. So one rule of thumb that I like to use is to always start at a 5 and then move my score up or down based on the quality of the proposal. What we've seen in past years is there tends to be a lot of clustering of scores up in the high range of the 1s and 2s. The rule of thumb I've always been told is if it's a 1, you probably won't see more than one 1 in your whole career. So certainly we we don't want to see, or I don't expect to see, all ones or a lot of ones from our reviewers. So do consider this carefully as you're going through and marking your scores. One other thing I would like to say is that it's important to weigh all three areas of the proposal carefully. So that should be the quality of the applicant, and that would also include that institutional commitment piece. The quality of the mentors and the quality of the mentoring plan should be about a third of the score. And about a third of the score roughly can be driven by the research plan. So if you look at it, it's about a third on applicant, about a third on mentoring quality training plan. And that's where I would factor in the responsible conduct of research. And then a third would be on the scientific plan. Certainly if there's no attempt to address responsible conduct of research at all, that should be a significant markdown, since that is an important component of a mentored career development plan. So this is basically the key points I wanted you to keep in mind as you're preparing your critiques. If you have any questions, certainly reach out to me, Cynthia Carnes, or to Stuart Hobbs, and I look forward to seeing you all at our review meeting. Thank you.